Welcome to this lecture on Presidential Decree Number 856, also known as the Sanitation Code of the Philippines. Signed into law in 1975, this landmark decree codifies the nation's public health policies relating to environmental sanitation and hygiene. The code is a key legal instrument for safeguarding community health, especially in rapidly urbanizing environments where poor sanitation can lead to disease, environmental degradation, and infrastructural stress. For architects, the sanitation code has direct implications on site planning, drainage, plumbing, waste disposal, water sourcing, and structural sanitation features. Throughout this lecture, we will explore the code's scope, key provisions, and how architectural decisions must comply with and reinforce its sanitary standards. By the end of this session, architecture students should be able to explain the legal intent and national coverage of PD 856, identify core sanitation standards relevant to building and site design, apply the code's guidelines on water supply, drainage, refuse, and waste understanding. For example, toilets, septic tanks, kitchens recognize the role of architects in health protection and public safety. These objectives aim to bridge legal knowledge with professional practice. PD 856 is not just a health law, it's a design regulation that architects must implement at every level of project development. Sanitation is often invisible in architectural renderings, but it is foundational to livability, sustainability, and regulatory compliance. This lecture will emphasize practical application so students can integrate sanitation code compliance into architectural drawings, specifications, and design rationale. PD 856 was enacted under the Marcos administration as a response to poor sanitation conditions in many parts of the country. Its primary purpose is to protect and promote the health of the people through comprehensive sanitation policies. The code empowers the Department of Health to formulate and enforce sanitary standards, regulate sanitary engineers and inspectors, and provide technical assistance to LGUs and the private sector. It unifies various fragmented regulations into one comprehensive code. Prior to PD 856, sanitation laws were scattered across municipal ordinances and outdated executive orders. PD 856 covers everything from water quality to toilet spacing, emphasizing the prevention of diseases such as cholera, hepatitis, and diarrhea, which are often linked to poor sanitation. For architecture students, understanding PD 856 is not optional. It's a legal standard that directly affects your plans, designs, and building permits. The Sanitation Code covers a wide range of health-related areas, including water supply, waste disposal, food establishments, public places, housing, industrial premises, and environmental pollution. It applies to all residential, commercial, institutional, and industrial buildings, whether in urban or rural areas. No building may be constructed or occupied without adhering to the provisions of this code. Among the most relevant sections for architects are Chapter 2, Water Supply, Chapter 17, Refuse Disposal, Chapter 18, Excreta Disposal, Chapter 19, Housing Sanitation, Chapter 21, Building Requirements. These chapters dictate minimum design and technical requirements, including toilet-to-occupant ratios, spacing, plumbing connections, septic tank designs, and ventilation. Architects must design in collaboration with sanitary engineers to ensure that blueprints are not only functional but also compliant both the Sanitation Code and the National Building Code. Understanding the terminology used in PD 856 is critical to applying it properly. For example, sanitation is broadly defined as the control of all factors in the physical environment that may have a deleterious effect on health. Key terms include excreta, which means human waste, urine and feces, refuse, non-liquid waste materials such as garbage, ashes and dead animals. Septic tank, a watertight chamber designed to digest solid waste biologically. Potable water, water safe for drinking, cooking, and bathing. The code distinguishes between domestic and industrial waste, between approved and prohibited disposal methods, and between temporary and permanent structures. These distinctions influence architectural design, especially when planning drainage systems, waste collection areas, and water supply infrastructure. Language is not just legal, it's operational. A misinterpretation of sewer line or individual disposal system can result in costly violations and redesigns. PD 856 outlines a foundational approach to environmental sanitation, defined as the promotion of hygiene and prevention of disease through control of environmental factors. This includes managing clean water, safe water disposal, and reducing human exposure to pathogens. The law establishes minimum sanitation requirements that affect both public and private spaces. These include the proper placement and maintenance of toilets, refuse bins, wastewater drains, and septic systems in all building types. Environmental sanitation also encompasses air and noise pollution, vector control, for example, mosquito and rodent breeding, and contamination prevention in high-density communities. For architects, this means careful layout planning, especially in multi-family housing, commercial complexes, or institutional facilities. Site planning must reflect proper building setbacks, adequate air circulation, and effective waste separation and disposal areas. These physical elements, when executed well, reduce transmission of communicable diseases and enhance user health. Integrating these principles early in health in design fosters resilient, code-compliant, and sustainable buildings, especially in regions that are prone to flooding, overcrowding, or limited access to municipal utilities. One of the most vital components of PD 856 is ensuring safe, potable water supply. The code requires all household, buildings, and institutions to have access to water that meets DOH, bacteriological, and chemical safety standards. Architectural projects must include a source of clean water, whether from a public utility, for example, the LWA or MWSS, here in Cagayan de Oro, it's the water district, or a private well, provided it is certified potable. Water storage tanks must be properly sealed, elevated, and maintained to avoid contamination. Water systems must deliver at least 30 liters per person per day for domestic use, with higher volumes for institutions, restaurants, or medical facilities. In high-rise buildings, booster systems and backup supply or cisterns are often needed to meet pressure and availability standards. The water supply system must be designed and installed in accordance with plumbing codes and in coordination with the sanitation code. This includes safe piping materials, anti-backflow devices, and cross-connection protection. As an architect, your coordination with sanitary engineers, plumbers, and utility consultants will ensure that building occupants are not only comfortable but also safe from waterborne diseases. PD 856 regulates the collection, conveyance, and disposal of wastewater, which includes gray water from the sinks, the laundry, the showers, and black water from toilets. Improper management of these can contaminate groundwater and surface water, threatening public health. All buildings must be connected to an approved sewerage system where available. In its absence, an individual wastewater disposal system such as a septic tank must be provided, sized appropriately, and sited to avoid seepage into water sources. The law prohibits the discharge of wastewater into streets, vacant lots, rivers, or storm drains unless properly treated. Catch basins, manholes, and grease traps must be incorporated in commercial kitchens, food establishments, and car wash facilities. Stormwater and wastewater systems must be separate to prevent overflows, especially during heavy rains. Drainage designs must prevent backflow, odors, and vector breeding. For example, mosquitoes in stagnant water. For architects, this translates to critical site grading, downspout planning, drainage outlet placement, and integrating subsoil and surface drainage systems. into the site development plan. Refuse disposal under PD 856 refers to the management of solid waste, including garbage, ashes, packaging materials, and other non-liquid waste. Buildings must be designed to accommodate regular and sanitary refuse handling. Every facility, residential, commercial, or institutional, must include clearly defined waste collection points. These should be well ventilated, vermin-proof, and accessible for garbage collection personnel and vehicles. Commercial kitchens, restaurants, and markets must provide daily collection and disposal and separate biodegradable from non-biodegradable waste. The use of proper receptacles with tight-fitting lids is mandatory. Site layouts must also consider centralized garbage holding areas, far from food preparation zones or living areas, while still providing easy access for users and sanitation workers. In multi-story buildings, refuse chutes or designated floor-level storage may be necessary. Today, this section intersects with RA 9003 or the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act, which mandates segregation, recovery, and zero waste practices, further expanding the architect's role in designing waste-conscious facilities. Excreta disposal is one of the most regulated elements in PD 856. Every building, whether temporary or permanent, must be equipped with at least one sanitary toilet facility connected to a septic tank or sewer line. The law prescribes minimum toilet to user ratios for different occupancies. For example, residential dwellings must have at least one toilet per housing unit, while public buildings must offer gender-separated facilities at specified occupant thresholds. Septic tanks must be watertight, constructed of approved materials, and size based on projected usage. They must have at least two compartments and allow for anaerobic digestion of waste before discharge into a leaching field or soaked away pit. Toilets must be located in ventilated spaces and not open directly into food preparation or eating areas. For buildings without access to centralized sewer systems, the design must include accessible maintenance points for dislodging and inspection. Architects must ensure these systems are included in working drawings and specified in coordination with sanitary engineers. Failure to do so may result in denied building permits or costly modifications during construction. PD 856 pays special attention to food establishments, including restaurants, canteens, cafeterias, bakeries, and food kiosks. The law requires these facilities to be designed and operated in ways that ensure the safe preparation, handling, and storage of food. Kitchens and food service areas must have impervious flooring, washable walls, proper ventilation, and adequate lighting. Waste bins with covers, grease traps, and insect-proof food storage are also mandatory. The law prohibits any food prep area from being adjacent to toilets or garbage storage. Hand washing stations with soap, water, and dyeing devices must be strategically located near food prep and dishwashing areas. Architects must also plan for sufficient water supply and drainage to prevent contamination or flooding. Employees must have separate toilet and dressing facilities. In larger establishments, separate dining, storage, and cleaning areas must be clearly delineated to comply with health regulations and to facilitate sanitation inspections. Architects should consult with both PD 856 and local health office guidelines when designing food businesses, particularly in mixed-use developments, commercial kitchens, or institutional canteens. The goal is to prevent foodborne illness through hygienic spatial planning. In Chapter 19, PD 856 establishes minimum sanitation standards for housing and building design. This includes provisions for habitable space, toilet access, water supply, garbage disposal, and ventilation. Each dwelling unit must have at least one sanitary toilet and a water supply of no less than 50 liters per person per day. Spaces must be large enough to allow for air circulation and daylighting, with ceilings no lower than 2.5 meters for habitable rooms. PD 856 requires that dwellings have adequate drainage systems, waste receptacles, and proper connections to public utilities where available. Areas prone to flooding must have raised flooring or water-resistant construction. Communal dwellings such as boarding houses and tenements must provide shared toilet facilities at a defined ratio, as well as cooking and laundry areas with approved sanitary provisions. These requirements reinforce the architect's role in promoting healthy living environments through layout efficiency, access to sanitation, and thoughtful material selection, especially in dense or low-income housing projects. Architects play a central role in the implementation of the sanitation code. They are responsible for designing spaces that conform to public health laws and ensure user safety through good spatial and systems planning. From site planning and circulation down to plumbing and waste collection areas. The architect must ensure that designs are both functionally hygienic and legally compliant. This is especially critical in schools, hospitals, markets, and housing developments. Coordination with other professionals such as sanitary engineers, plumbing experts, and environmental health officers is essential during both the design and construction phases. Building permits and occupancy certifications often require sanitation plans signed by licensed professionals. PD 856 mandates that architects contribute to national health through their designs, especially in the face of climate changes, water scarcity, and population density. This responsibility is echoed in the Architect's Code of Ethical Conduct and CPD guidelines. Ultimately, sanitation-conscious architecture is not just about ticking regulatory boxes. It's about creating environments that prevent disease, preserve dignity, and support long-term community well-being. PD 856 outlines clear penalties for violations ranging from administrative fines to closure of non-compliant establishment. DOH through local health officers is authorized to inspect, issue notices, and enforce corrective measures. Offenses may include lack of proper toilets, unsafe drinking water, illegal waste discharge, inadequate drainage, or unsanitary conditions in food preparation and housing. Repeated or gross violations can lead to business permit suspension or legal action. The code holds property owners, bidding managers, and even designers accountable for failure to implement mandatory sanitation features. For architects, negligence in sanitation compliance could lead to building permit delays, fines, or liability claims. Local government units play an important role in reinforcement, often through the city or municipal health office and local sanitation inspectors. Their recommendations are required for occupancy permits and health clearances. Architects must therefore be proactive in addressing sanitation code requirements during project approval, especially in high-risk environments such as densely populated barangays, informal settlements, or public markets. The Sanitation Code of the Philippines provides a comprehensive legal foundation for environmental health, water safety, waste management, and hygienic building design. For architects, it defines not only legal responsibilities, but also ethical design standards, from water sourcing and drainage to toilet spacing and garbage storage. Each element of the law intersects with real-world architectural practice. Designing compliant buildings help protect communities, reduce disease, and align with national development goals. As future professionals, your mastery of sanitation codes ensures that your designs are safe, sustainable, and legally sound. It also prepares you to collaborate with multidisciplinary teams and communicate effectively with regulatory authorities. So your activity class, which should be reflected on our Padlet link and also on your modules, is to choose a public facility such as a school, a dormitory, a market, and evaluate its sanitation provisions using PD 856. Sketch a floor plan or site layout and identify areas for improvement. Submit a short written critique discussing design strengths, deficiencies, and potential solutions. So we should remember that sanitation is design, invisible but essential. How you address it today will shape the health and dignity of your users tomorrow. So this will be a lecture for this week, class. I'll be uploading this in a Padlet as well, and you could find this also in the module. See you next meeting.